The Zarkonian warship descended through the ash-gray clouds of Predator Colony Outpost 7 like a blade through silk. Commander Thexivor watched the settlement through his tactical display, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. Intelligence reports confirmed what he'd hoped. The adult predators were off-world on a hunting expedition. Only their young remained, guarded by a single human advisor. Easy prey. "The galaxy will thank us," Thexivor announced to his bridge crew. "Predator spawn eliminated before they can grow into the monsters their parents became." What Thexivor didn't understand, what no Zarkonian could understand, was that humans didn't see monsters when they looked at children. They saw potential, they saw hope, and they would die before letting harm come to those under their protection. Captain Arden Vale stood at the viewport of the outpost's command center, watching the Zarkonian vessel break through the atmosphere. Behind him, 3 adolescent predators, Sarn, Rella, and Vex, growled low in their throats, claws extending instinctively. "Captain," Sarn's translator rendered his guttural speech into standard galactic. "We should hide. Our parents taught." "Your parents taught you to survive," Arden interrupted, turning to face them. His weathered face bore scars from a dozen conflicts, but his eyes held something the cubs had learned to recognize: absolute determination. "Today, I'm going to teach you something humans learned a long time ago. Sometimes survival means standing your ground." Rella, the smallest of the 3, stepped forward. "There are hundreds of them. You are one human." Arden's smile was predatory in a way that would have made their parents proud. "Yeah, poor bastards don't stand a chance." The Zarkonian ground forces expected token resistance. They found a war. The first assault team breached the outpost's eastern perimeter, plasma rifles charged and ready. They made it exactly 12 meters before the corridor exploded. Not from conventional explosives. Humans had taught the cubs about improvisation. Fuel cells, maintenance chemicals, and pressure valves combined in ways the Zarkonians' rigid military doctrine never anticipated. "Aggressive, aren't they?" Thexivor muttered, watching his tactical display. "No matter. Send 3 more teams." In the command center, Arden worked with controlled urgency, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. "Sarn, seal bulkhead 7. Rella, activate the environmental controls, cycle 2. Vex with me. We're about to show them why Earth has a saying about cornered animals." The cubs moved with practiced efficiency. Months of training under Arden's guidance had transformed them from frightened refugees into something the galaxy had never seen: predators who fought with human cunning. The second wave of Zarkonians advanced more cautiously, scanning for traps. They didn't scan high enough. Vex dropped from the ventilation shaft with a roar that echoed through the corridors, his natural camouflage flickering as he struck. His claws found weak points in armor that Arden had made him memorize during countless training sessions. But Vex was young, still learning. A Zarkonian blade found his shoulder, and blue blood sprayed across the wall. Arden appeared from a side corridor, a human weapon in his hands, not standard issue, but something he'd built from salvage and spite. The electromagnetic pulse sent 3 Zarkonians convulsing to the floor. He reached Vex in 2 strides, hauling the wounded cub back toward cover. "Lesson number 1, Arden grunted, applying emergency sealant to the wound. "Humans don't leave anyone behind. Especially not kids." "We are not," Vex began. "You're 13 cycles old. You're kids. My kids now." Arden's voice softened for just a moment. "And nobody touches my kids." On the bridge, Thexivor's confidence began to crack. 20 soldiers down. The human and 3 cubs still fighting. It was impossible. Humans were supposed to be soft, emotional, easily broken. "Commander," his tactical officer reported, "the human has sealed himself and the cubs in the central hub. We can breach, but casualties will be—" "I don't care about casualties," Thexivor roared. "And this." The final assault came with overwhelming force. Zarkonians poured through every entrance, determined to crush the resistance through sheer numbers. They found themselves in a kill zone that would have made human military strategists weep with pride. Arden had spent weeks teaching the cubs about Earth's history, about Thermopylae, about the Alamo. about every desperate last stand where humans had chosen death over surrender. But he'd also taught them about asymmetric warfare, about turning your environment into a weapon. The outpost's gravity plating, its atmospheric processors, its very structure became instruments of defense. Zarkonians found themselves fighting in crushing gravity one moment and weightless chaos the next. Breathable air became toxic fog. Lights died, and in the darkness young predators with natural night vision became phantoms. Sarn and Rella worked in perfect coordination, herding enemies into Arden's firing zones. They'd learned human squad tactics, human timing, human ruthlessness, tempered with purpose. But numbers were numbers. For every Zarkonian that fell, 2 more advanced. Arden's makeshift weapons were running dry. The cubs bore wounds that would have killed lesser beings. In the final moments, as Zarkonians surrounded the command center, Arden activated his last contingency. His hand hovered over a red switch that would overload the outpost's reactor, taking everyone with it. "Captain?" "No," Sarn growled. "You can't watch me." Arden's voice was steel. "You 3 are the future of your species. If I have to take these bastards with me to give you a chance to survive until your parents return." The building shook. But not from an explosion. Predator warships dropped from orbit with a fury that made the Zarkonian vessel look like a toy. The hunting party had returned early, alerted by automated distress signals. Within minutes, the tide of battle reversed completely. Thexvor found himself facing not just adult predators, but something worse. Predators who had learned from humans. They showed no mercy. When the dust settled, the 3 cubs stood with Arden in the ruins of the outpost. Their parents approached, massive forms radiating barely contained rage and grief at what their young had endured. The pack leader, a scarred veteran named Threx, studied Arden for a long moment. "You stayed. You fought. You nearly died. For our children." Arden straightened, despite his injuries. "They're not just your children anymore, they're soldiers. They're survivors. And yeah, they're mine too." Threx's mandibles spread, and what humans had learned was a smile. "Then we owe you a debt that can never be repaid. The enemy believed our cubs were easy prey. You proved them catastrophically wrong." "They proved themselves wrong," Arden corrected, looking at Sarn, Rella, and Vex with unmistakable pride. "I just showed them how humans fight when we're protecting family. Turns out young predators learn real quick." In the years that followed, the story spread across the galaxy. The tale of 1 human and 3 cubs who held against impossible odds became legend. Other species learned a lesson the Zarkonians paid dearly for. Humans didn't measure family by biology. They measured it by choice. And heaven help anyone foolish enough to threaten a human's chosen family. The galaxy had believed humans were soft because they cared for the young of other species. They learned too late that this compassion came with teeth. After all, Earth's most dangerous predators have always been the ones protecting their young.